All right, so the Bobcat team has put together an infographic for outdoor or just for multiple radio setups. We have basically two different types of setups that are split into two more setups. The first one is a simple setup, which you can see right now, and also an advanced setup. You can differentiate between them by the green and gray backgrounds. The green is advanced, and the gray is the simple setup. The simple setup basically has more wires, but it has all the power capabilities that's already included. The only thing you need to buy that is extra that is not included is the gigabit switch that you see there. Yep. Setup is, for the most part, pretty simple. You have your router already that has internet, and from the router, you're going to connect a Ethernet cable to the WAN connection port in your Bobber 500. I'd like to note here that if you're using Cat5e cables, they're only basically good up until 100 meters. So anything above 100 meters, you're going to need a Cat6 or above. I believe it goes from Cat6, 7, and 8, I think now too. So going back to that, all right, so the next part we're talking about is we're going to be connecting the ENB switch from your Bobber 500 to your gigabit switch. Switches will vary, but usually they have a dedicated port to where you can plug in your ENB switch from 500 to there. The other 3 or 4 ports, however many you have, will be going from those to the 3 radios that you see here. Because this is the simple switch, each radio is going to have to be also powered from their own power supply. So this is why we call this the simple one, is because all the stuff is there already there for you. So I think that's it for the simple one. Moving on to the advanced setup, this is also for indoors. Basically, the main difference is because it's power over Ethernet, each of the radios is not going to require its own power supply. It's going to be getting the power from the gigabit PoE plus switch that we have here. This setup differs from the last setup because the switch that you use here is going to have to be a PoE plus switch. These are a little bit more expensive, but they'll save you from having multiple power outlets that you need. So the same thing applies. The WAN goes into the 500 from your router, and the ENB goes into the dedicated port in your PoE plus switch. Please make sure that the switch has enough power to power your 3 radios. Depending on what radios you use, they'll require more power. For the indoors, they're about 21 to 25 watts. So you need to make sure your PoE plus switch will have enough power for that. I think the one we have here recommended is a Netgear, but there's many different products you can use. So that's it for the indoor setups. And if you go down, we also have the other 2 setups, which are simple and advanced, but these are for your outdoor. These are basically going to work almost the same as your simple and advanced indoor setups. However, for this one, actually it's pretty much the same. For this one, the only difference is instead of a normal power switch or power adapter supply for your outdoor radios, they'll be going into a PoE injector. Each PoE injector will need its own Ethernet cable, so please make sure you have enough Ethernet cables. We've already counted how many cables you need, and basically for a whole setup for outdoor radios, you'll need about 8 Ethernet cables. And if you move on to the advanced setup will require the PoE plus switch, just like we said before. But this time, because of the PoE, the power of Ethernet, you're not going to require all those injectors anymore. And so that switch will power all 3 outdoor radio or outdoor CBRSs. So these outdoor ones, I think, are from most labs, and they are rated at 21 watts. So once again, please make sure that your POS switch has enough power to power those switches.